I'm good. How are you?
Good, it's nice to meet you. Are you comfortable? Is there anything I can do to make you more comfortable?
No, I'm comfortable.
Okay, good. If there's anything within the session, like you need a glass of water or you want a change of lighting or anything like that, just let me know. Before we get started, as this is our first session, I just want to go over a couple housekeeping things. So for starters, I do take notes during the session, just kind of jot notes here and there. If you want to see them after the session, you're more than welcome to, but it's just kind of so I don't forget anything important that you might be saying to me. Are there any questions about that?
No, that sounds good.
Okay, good, I'm glad. And also we should go over confidentiality because everything we discuss in this session is confidential between you and me. However, there are some limits to that confidentiality. So if you're a risk of harm to yourself or somebody else, or if there's suspected or reported child abuse, I do have a duty to report those things. As well, if a court subpoenas my records for any reason, I do have to provide those over. Are there any questions with that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, sounds good. Well, now that all the housekeeping's out of the way, if you feel comfortable, I'm interested in hearing the story of why you're in today.
Yeah, so recently, I don't know, I just feel like I've been feeling kind of inadequate. I've been having a lot of low self-esteem, and I haven't really been able to pinpoint why that is. Other things in my life, or everything, it feels like in my life has been going really well. I just got promoted at my law firm to a higher position, and things have been going really, really well there. And my husband's been super supportive of me. He's helping pick up the slack at home. So yeah.
Okay, so you just got promoted to a new position. Things have been going well there. I'm curious what going well looks like for you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been promoted. Things are going well at work. I get along with my coworkers. I recently I've already had some success in my new position. I won a case. And yeah, like I said, my husband's been super supportive. He's been helping out at home a lot. He's been, doing lots of housework, taking care of the kids.
Okay, so I'm curious about when this story or chapter in your life started kind of unfolding for you.
Yeah, like you mean how I'm been feeling?
Yeah.
I think I've always been really critical of myself. As long as I can remember, honestly, I'm not really sure when that started.
Yeah.
But that's just something I've always dealt with to an extent.
So this critical voice of almost inadequacy has kind of always been present in your life?
Yeah, I would say so. For as long as I can remember.
Yeah. Okay. I'm wondering when this voice of inadequacy is maybe the loudest for you.
Yeah, I'd say it's the loudest when I'm not able to help out as much at home. Like I said, my husband's been really supportive, but it's just I'm finding it hard to not be able to provide that support as well. Like when I see like dishes piling up and I have laundry to do, or there is laundry to do and I'm not the one to do it, or it just seems like there's a mountain of chores. And like I said, my husband, he's been super great, but that's when it's the loudest.
Okay, so you're feeling supported by your husband, but for you the voice gets louder in those moments. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious then when maybe this voice is quietest for you.
I'd say it's quietest when I am doing other things, like with my kids or my husband, when I'm maybe not at home surrounded by the chores that I see that need to be done, when we take, little trips, and when I feel like the times when I'm able to contribute more to the home, and when I'm actually able to feel like I'm on top of both my work responsibilities and my responsibilities at home.
Okay. I'm hearing that this voice seems to be pretty present when you're at home. I'm curious if it ever shows up for you while you are at work.
Definitely more so at home. I feel like at work I feel more like I'm on top of things because I don't have a visual reminder, but it's still there when I'm at work because I know that I'm at work and I'm not at home and able to do the things that I also want to do there.
So it kind of sounds like this voice is almost living at your home. Is that accurate for you?
Yeah, that's accurate.
It's still present when you're at work, but more so related to things that are going on at home. Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
I've heard you say a couple times now that the voice is kind of the loudest when you're not on top of things or not doing well. I'm curious to explore a little bit more of what being on top of things exactly looks like for you.
Yeah. I would say when I'm able to, do all my work responsibilities, but also do things at home and be there for my family, spend time with my kids, spend time with my husband, spend time as a family, and just feel like I'm able to be a good mother in that way.
It sounds like you feel like when you're on top of things, you're balancing everything in your life, and this impacts your view of yourself as a good mother. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I'm curious of maybe where this view of motherhood may have come from.
The first thing that I can think of is, of course, my own mother. I feel like my mom was a really good mother. She was a stay-at-home mom. She always had time for us, and she was always cleaning the house, making sure everything was spotless, and preparing for company, and just I feel like she really had a good balance of it all.
Did you have a positive relationship with your mother?
I did.
So you felt that your mother was a good mother in your life, and you've kind of taken her example as a guide for how you should be a good mother to your children. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if if you can think about any other influences on your view of motherhood in your life.
Like on a larger scale?
In any scale, in any way that feels applicable to your situation.
I'm thinking maybe like the media, other mothers in my life, friends, seeing how they balance things.
Yeah, so do you know other mothers that kind of have the same viewpoint on what being a good mother looks like?
I do. I think a lot of my friends are moms, and we've had similar conversations about trying to balance everything. So I think definitely my close friends who are moms as well.
Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, is you have a view of motherhood which involves you staying on top of things at home, including like the chores and being connected with your children and also your husband. And this view of motherhood also entails like being on top of things at work at the same time, and you're feeling currently like maybe the scale is tipped more towards your work life than your home life, which is resulting in you feeling a little bit inadequate. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay. I I'm wondering if we can go back to exploring this voice of inadequacy a little bit more, because I want to get to understand how it plays a role in your life. So I'm wondering if you can consider maybe what does this voice maybe value the most?
Yeah, I think it values really doing the most at work and at home, just being a good worker, of course, and also being productive at home as well. Like I said, with chores, taking care of things, also spending time with my family.
So it kind of sounds like this voice puts a lot of pressure on you. Is that accurate to your experience?
Yeah.
What does this voice maybe, we've explored it a little bit, but I want to know a little bit more about what it specifically criticizes you about.
Anytime, I'd say when I'm resting.
Okay.
I feel like it really criticizes me when I'm resting or doing things that aren't doing things for myself. Like even just watching TV, when I know there's other things that I could be doing, taking a bath, little self-care activities like that.
So when you're focusing on yourself, this voice kind of starts to shout at you and criticize you. When this voice is shouting at you, does it influence you to act in any certain type of way?
I would say it's kind of confusing in that sense. Some part of me knows that resting is important and I should take that time, but then on the other hand, the voice is telling me all the other things that I need to do and are more important. So even if I do try to rest or try to watch TV, it's not as enjoyable as I feel like it could be.
So this voice is maybe influencing you to feel conflicting views on how to act in certain circumstances?
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's ever been times where you've been able to kind of silence this voice.
Probably more so when I'm out of the house, when I'm able to spend time with my family, doing other things like going on hikes or spending time with my husband, when I'm not reminded of the other things that I have to do.
So this voice, you're able to silence it when you remove yourself from the house and maybe the tasks that you feel are associated with being in the home and just connect with your family. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
What does connecting with your family look like for you?
Really just spending quality time with my 2 sons and my husband, making sure that they know that I'm there for them. Really setting aside time to do activities and spend time as a family.
Yeah, so when you prioritize being with your children and your family and being in the moment, maybe not letting this voice of inadequacy take over. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What are some things, I'd like to explore this more about how you feel connected to your family in these moments. What are activities that you guys like to do together?
I think going on trips is a big one. Normally we go on a big trip every year, so that's something that's really special and important to us. My oldest son, he plays hockey, So going to his games, bringing him, picking him up for practice, and yeah, just being present for my kids. And with my husband, setting aside time for us, like going on dates. We try to do that, going out for dinner every few weeks. Sometimes we go dancing, karaoke.
Those all sound like really fun activities for you guys to be engaging in. I'm wondering if when you're speaking about this, it can indicate to you anything that you value in your life or in your relationships.
Yeah. Well, it definitely indicates to me that I prioritize my family and family time. And yeah, like I said, just being there for my kids, being a good mother.
I'm hearing a lot of value and care for your family and your husband and trying to be the best mother you can be in these moments. I'm wondering if we can go back to exploring this expectation of motherhood that you have. And I'm wondering if there's any times where you felt like I know we've kind of discussed it, but times where you feel like maybe you were being a bad mother.
Probably times when I'm too focused on work, when I'm not able to be home, working late, when my husband has to do more of childcare related things and chores at home. Yeah, and also when I am not able to do those things as well, when I'm not able to take care of the home, when I know less about what's going on with my kids, my husband, if he spends more time with them because I'm always at the office, those are the times where I feel like I'm not being as good of a mother as I could be.
So in those moments, the expectation of motherhood is kind of weighing on you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm wondering what your life might look like if this expectation of motherhood just didn't exist anymore.
It's an interesting question. I think maybe I'd be a lot more content. I think I would worry less about being a good mother and my kids' feelings, not their feelings, but their view of me as a good or bad mother.
You mentioned the word content, and if this expectation of motherhood wasn't weighing on you, you'd be able to experience that feeling more. I'm curious what life might look like if you were living in this content space more often.
Yeah, I think I would have a lot more time a lot more time to relax. I think I would feel better about myself. I think I'd gain some more self-esteem, and I wouldn't feel as inadequate as I've been feeling.
So if you were able to kind of move the voice of contentness into your life and move the voice of inadequacy out of your life, you'd be able to be more engaged with your kids in the way that you want to be and your partner, if I'm understanding you correctly?
Yeah.
So you've mentioned times before and kind of going all over the place. I just want to get a better idea of what your story is and how this voice of inadequacy and expectations of motherhood have been impacting you. You mentioned earlier that you've been able to kind of quiet the voice when you are with your children and with your husband and present in the moment. I'm wondering if there's times where you felt like really connected to your children and your husband that don't involve taking care of them or taking care of tasks.
Yeah, I think probably, like I mentioned before, going on trips, just kind of moments where we're able to live in the moment and be kind of more free, less expectation around me taking care of them or me and my husband taking care of them. Just kind of, yeah, like I said, living in the moment. Yeah.
So when you're on these trips, you feel more present and then you feel more connected. I'm wondering if in these moments there are ever, if that expectation of motherhood, do you feel its presence at all in those moments?
Definitely a lot less.
A lot less.
It's not what I'm thinking about, just kind of thinking about having fun and making memories.
Have you gone on any trips like that recently with your family and kids?
Not recently. Things have just been really busy since I started my new position. So we haven't really had time to go on a trip recently. We didn't end up going on one in the summer because that's when I started my job or my new role.
I'm curious to see we've talked a lot about your home life and how this voice of inadequacy kind of lives at your house and also this weight of motherhood is present. I'm curious, you've mentioned how work has been going well. If you could tell me a little bit more about that part of your story.
Yeah, it's been really rewarding, I would say, to get this new position. I've worked at the firm for about a decade.
Wow.
Yeah, so to be in a higher position, finally something that I've been working towards for a really long time, and it's been really great. It's rewarding too, in the sense that I've had success in it already, so makes me feel equipped, I guess you could say, to be in the role.
I'm hearing that maybe at work there's a voice of adequacy present in your story when you're mentioning feeling equipped and successful. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So what does success mean to you in these terms?
Yeah, I mean, I think success can mean a few different things for me. In terms of work, there's being successful in what I'm doing as a lawyer and supporting my clients to the best of my ability, being a successful leader, getting along well with my colleagues and those that I'm acting as a leader with. And then there's also my version of success at home, which is, like I mentioned, being a good mother, being able to balance all those things that I have to do as well, I'd say, is another version of success that I have.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you have two different versions of success for yourself, one that happens at work and one that happens at home. I'm wondering if there's any similarities that you can maybe think about between these two different versions of success?
I would say feeling good about myself is the first thing that comes to mind. Having the people around me feel supported,
Okay.
I think is a big factor. Yeah, just being able to support those that I'm working with and my family.
Okay, so for you, success involves taking care of other people and supporting other people, if I'm understanding you correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said at work that you've been feeling successful. Can you give me an example of this work success?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest way I felt successful, well, there's a couple ways. Since being in my new leadership position, recently winning a big case that I've been working on since I started in the role has been a big part of that. I felt a lot of success in that way, and like I was able to support the client through that case. And then also building a good relationship as a leader with my coworkers has also been really important, because without that I also don't think that I'd be able to be as successful in my cases with clients.
So you've been able to develop strong and positive relationships with coworkers and people working under you, and you recently won a big case, so you're feeling success with that. What does your family think about your work success and this recent promotion for you?
They're really supportive. They're really happy for me. Yeah, my husband, he doesn't mind doing extra stuff at home. He knows that this is really important to me and something that I've wanted for a while. So, yeah, he's been great about doing any extra stuff that needs to be done at home. But yeah, he's just really happy for me. My kids, it's a little bit harder for them to understand because they're younger, but I know that they still feel supported at home because of my husband, even though I'm not around as much, and I know that they do miss me, but I know that they're also happy for me and know that I'm happy in my new role.
How do you know that your kids are happy for you in this new role?
Sometimes they tell me, or a lot of the time, my husband will relay things that they've said when he's picking them up from school or dropping them off, or taking my oldest to hockey. They told me that they're proud of me, so that means a lot.
Okay. So they've told you that they're happy for you, they tell you that they're proud of you. I'm wondering how this maybe lines up with your expectation of yourself as a mother.
I guess in that way, it does. It makes me feel more like a good mother, because my kids, when they say things like that to me, sometimes I don't pay attention, I guess, to things like that as much as I should, because I'm just feeling, I guess, internally like I should be doing more. So sometimes I don't pay attention as much when they explicitly tell me things like that.
So this voice of inadequacy that's kind of shouting at you leads you to not value certain pieces of information as much as other pieces that are present in your life?
Yeah.
Which then influences this weight of motherhood to kind of feel a little bit heavier for you?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you had a friend who was experiencing these same feelings of, was listening to this voice of inadequacy and feeling this weight of the expectations of motherhood. What might you tell that friend?
Yeah, I would probably tell them just, reinforce that they're doing the best they can, they're doing a great job, and, remind them that their family, cares about them and cares about their well-being and their passions, and probably to not worry about it so much, if they have a good support system at home, that that things will be okay and they'll work out in some way.
So you would be able to see the things that your friend was doing good outside of these pressures and be able to support them to see those things.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what you think of that in relation to your own self and your own story.
I guess it makes me think, it makes me realize what my kids and my husband, like their view of me. It just makes me think of things that I haven't before in relation to being a good mother. That's something I really hadn't considered before. How when they tell me things, like they're proud of me and they care about me, really they don't complain. I know that they miss me, but they tell me that they're happy for me, and I kind of have been ignoring that.
So you're able to notice some pieces of your story that maybe were missing before.
Yeah.
I'm also curious if you've talked to your family at all about this voice of inadequacy and this pressure of being a good mother.
Not explicitly, I wouldn't say. I feel like I kind of keep that more inside, because I haven't really been able to identify where it's coming from. So I just kind of have been keeping that to myself.
What do you think that they would say if they knew that this is how you've been feeling?
I think they would reassure me that I am a good mother, and that I am doing my best, and remind me how important my new work role is to me, and how much happiness that has brought me, and also remind me, of how I am there for my family, even if I'm not keeping up with all the chores and doing the dishes and the laundry, and always being able to take the kids where they need to go, and sometimes that falls on my husband, but that's okay.
So if you brought forward these things that you've been experiencing, they might be able to help you remember some of the missing pieces of your story, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Is that something that you think would benefit you to feel a little bit more adequate?
I think so. I think being more open and honest with specifically my husband would probably help alleviate some of these inadequate feelings.
Yeah. Mhm. So if maybe more people knew that this voice of inadequacy was living at home with you all the time, you might be able to silence it a little bit more. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, it does, especially because that's definitely the main place where I hear the voice.
Yeah, the voice lives with you at home and kind of comes with you to work in the back of your mind, but doesn't really stick around as much.
Yeah.
Because you're feeling successful at work and like you're doing good things, if I'm understanding what you've told me so far today.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
So I just want to make sure that we're getting close to the end of the session, and I just want to make sure that this session has been going okay for you and addressing the things that you felt you need to.
Yeah, it's definitely given me some new insight into how I'm feeling that I haven't really been able to pinpoint, because I've really been feeling this way since, to this extent, since I started the role. So it's been nice to finally have some answers in a sense as to why I feel this way, but I just haven't been able to figure out why.
I'm curious, from your perspective, what are these answers to the way you've been feeling recently?
Yeah, I guess I just have a better understanding of the fact that I feel inadequate because I feel like I'm not able to balance these things, like work and home, but also, I have a lot clearer understanding, I think, of ways that I feel like I am a good mother, and ways that I am successful in different ways.
So you've been able to kind of pinpoint that these feelings of, or this voice of inadequacy has been present because you're feeling unable to balance your new responsibilities at work with the values that you have at home. But through our conversation, you've been able to identify maybe some missing pieces that show how you have been successful or you have been a good mother in your life, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious about, as we've spoken about everything today, what this kind of tells you. We mentioned it briefly before, but like your values and what kind of life you value.
Yeah, it shows me that I value my family, of course, and I value spending time with them. I value their opinions of me, but it's also shown me that I also really value my work and the work that I'm doing in my new position and how important it is to me and how it helps me feel successful.
I'm wondering how you view these different values in your life. Do you value them kind of as parallel to each other or conflicting with each other?
I would say initially more so conflicting. My work related values and my home values, but I'm starting to see them as a little bit more parallel, with coming to an understanding that my family is supportive of me and cares about what I'm doing and is proud of me.
So maybe starting today you had a different view on these different values in your life, but now you're able to view them in a more complementary way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with this all in mind, I'm wondering how do you want to move forward?
I think I definitely want to have a conversation with my husband about how I'm feeling. I think that would be the first step to kind of helping to quiet the voice of inadequacy. And then, kind of seeing what he says and then hopefully being able to better feel like I have a better balance of work and home and not feeling inadequate when I'm at home and trying to just rest or relax or catch up with my family.
So moving forward, you want to speak to your husband about this, and you feel like that will allow you to balance your different values in your life?
Yeah. Just kind of have open communication around that, because I feel like we haven't really.
You feel like you've been dealing with this voice on your own up until now. Well, Brooke, I want to thank you for sharing this all with me and being able to acknowledge how you want to move forward after this session. If I'm understanding, you came in today with this story that involved this really loud voice of inadequacy that kind of related to your view and expectation of motherhood that came from kind of how you grew up and also the other people in your life and how they view motherhood, which were all leading you to feel this voice of inadequacy as being so prevalent in your life. And it really started to show up when you got promoted to your new position. But through conversation today, you've been able to recognize a little bit more about some other pieces of your story that were missing that involved you being a good mother and also being good at work and the different values that are associated with both of those. Is that correct in your experience from today?
Yeah.
Are there any questions that you have for me before leaving, or anything that you feel like we didn't address today that you would like to have addressed?
I don't think so. I think I'm just grateful for the opportunity to kind of gain some more insight, and I feel like you really provided me with a safe place to do so. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
I'm glad you felt that way. I do just want to make sure that I have been understanding you correctly throughout the session, and I'm not making assumptions on what your story is.
No, I feel like what we talked about was really spot on. And I appreciate you helping me identify this voice of inadequacy, and kind of helps me, put a name to it and visualize it in my head, which I'm hoping will maybe be able to help me identify it moving forward too. So.
And do you feel like being able to identify it is going to help you fight back against it moving forward?
Yeah, I think, it'll help me to recognize, when I'm feeling that way, and just kind of see it before, the feelings continue to progress.
Yeah, you'll be able to recognize it and address it before things get overwhelming. Okay. Well, thank you for everything you've shared today, and I hope that things have been helpful.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.